Good afternoon. Um, Today's trades were honestly kind of a mess, but I'll go over them. Um, if all of these lows are lows from like, except for this setup right here, um, that low down there. Not the fib thing. Anyways, as soon as we got into open, I was looking for a retrace because I knew we'd be bearish. I was just looking for some kind of retrace. We had this, which is a 4 hour order block, yeah, and then a 1 hour bearish for value gap. I was like, that would be great. We didn't get that. Then we had a 1 hour bearish for value gap right above that, and I was like, oh, that would be good too. We didn't get that, and then we just automatically moved down, started taking out sell side liquidity. So this action right here, this 1 hour negative order block, I would have taken this. However, I saw that it was getting close to lunch hour and I was like, nah, there's no reason. But that doesn't make any sense because then what I did is I entered like somewhere right over here. Yeah, it was like right here. I entered here and we'll pull it up. This was hilarious, and you'll make fun of me even more once you see what I did after this. Yeah, super exciting stuff here. Wait, no, was this? No, this was today. Yeah. Where am I missing? Ah, never mind. Just because I'm on the 1 minute. Here we are. Beautiful work. Um, on this position, we moved up into this bearish for value gap, and I was like, okay, I'll enter, and then we hit this bearish order block, and I was like, okay, I'll enter again. We inverse the bearish for value gap, reclaiming it again, and and then I enter on the consequent encroachments, we return to it, but then we go up and we take this out, and I was like, that's not a great sign. And then we go up and we take out this liquidity, which is where my stop loss was, and I get stopped out, and I was like, that sucks. I had a little bit of money on that. And then I'm like, obviously we're going down to these final regions that I was interested in, which was, yeah, this sell side liquidity down here. I was like, finally, we'll go ahead. Oh, I guess there was liquidity from a long time ago right here. I was like, finally, we're gonna go take those out. And so right in here, we come up to it was the consequent encroachment of this bearish for value gap right here. And then we come up and hit this inverse for value gap. Oh wait, no. Oh, it was this order block. It must have either been this order block or a sweep of this high right there. Then I was like, we're just gonna keep going down. We have this big move, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Then we come up into the suspension block. I'm like, this is just one last tiny little retrace before we go down. And I hadn't set a stop loss yet, just because I was still entering positions, and I just, I didn't really expect price to come up here. And then within the span of like 5 seconds, we shoot up to here. And I was like, okay, well now I'm kind of screwed now. I'm $600 down, but obviously our draw is down here. That was just a grab for liquidity. Now, the smart thing in this decision would have been to rack up my contract size and be like, this is a phenomenal entry. We go and enter with 5 contracts up here in this bearish for value gap that we have respected numerous times. I mean, this has just been a constant area of retracement. But no, my dumbass is just like, nah, we'll just hold on to it like a true retail trader. And so I put my stops here, we make a new high, put my stops down here. Once we respect this bearish for value gap, you'd think I'd put them here, but I was too scared. Um, and then it kept just going down. I was like, all right, we're okay. That was incredibly embarrassing though. So then I closed out the position here. Very, very sad. I went into phenomenal amounts of drawdown. Like I made like $200. I went into like 600 or $700 of drawdown. It was not good. And then there was this trade down here, which is just New York PM session. We hit like what can kind of be constituted as an order block, like really far back with this. So I entered and then I got stopped out when we took out this low. But then right in here, this 50%, this fib, these fib levels that I was looking at was a huge wick on the 4 hour. So we go and take that out with this level, which is what I was interested in. And then and then we have this order block from the which I guess I could have put down here. I typically mark out the bodies, not the wicks. Um, but um we have this and we take out this high right here. we disrespect this fair value gap and then go on to respect it. And so I was like, all right, this is good. And then we have this big expansion up. I'm like, all right, I'll enter if we come back down to this order block, this fair value gap, that kind of thing. And we respect this fair value gap. I get entered in. I had it right at the top of this wick, so that's kind of where, that's why it's a little bit higher than this. And then what I was targeting was there's a 1 hour bearish order block right here, which is what I wanted to hit. And so we get into for like the last little while, we've been in this area of consolidation. We have this big move up, and I'm like, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of this move right here, this big bullish move there where we then went down and swept sell side liquidity. So I immediately moved my stops up to the most recent low, which was right here, and I had a feeling that we'd go in short and get closed out. So I was not surprised by any means to see that happen. And this was a high time frame low right here. And this is just high time frame sell side liquidity. So not surprised whatsoever. It is. Today was a day, honestly. Today was it was a day. It was not a day I'm proud of. It was a thing. This was that little trade right here. Lost like $20. I didn't risk a whole lot because of my shitty decisions earlier in the day. And then I risked another one micro right here and I made like $15. This was that position where I went into like $700. Oh no, no, no. This was the position that I had when I went to $700 of drawdown. This was the position before where the same thing happened, just not as aggressively. So I had time to put in a stop loss. And and yeah, I got stopped out, and then I made it all back plus a little bit more. So, yeah, it's about 1,000 for the week. I'm gonna go ahead and just, reflect on the poor decision I made today, and just remember that, I need to trade, within the defined hours that I typically trade in, because that's a smart thing to do. Or honestly, I could have traded this. This would have been a great, great option. I mean, do you see this? That I was looking at this entry and I didn't enter because I was like, oh, well, it's after AM session. And then I later on in the day I was like, I'm an idiot. But there was this right here. We had this market structure shift. We had hit this 1 hour bearish order block. Like literally ticked into it. Like what is that? 2 ticks? Okay, 5, whatever. It's very close amount of ticks. Very, very close. We were barely off. And it hits it and it immediately reacts, making this market structure shift. We create all sorts of fair value gaps on the 15 seconds. Sorry, allow me to zoom in a little bit here on the 15 second. And then we have this inverse for value gap, which you could have entered on the retrace into here, and then we close down here and the retrace again into there. We also had another one right here with this 15-second order block, which then gets tapped into here and here. Both would have been great entries. This one probably would have made more sense after we make the market structure shift than retracing into this most recent order block. And that would have been a great entry, which then would have taken us all the way down to this liquidity, this liquidity, this liquidity all the way down here. Very similar move to yesterday where I just, I had it analyzed very well and I just didn't enter. It was an unfortunate day. I'm glad that I did not lose any money today though. Oh, yeah. I'm glad we are still positive on the week. This that I'm still annoyed that I didn't take this trade, honestly. Um, And that, well, I'm not annoyed that I didn't take this trade. I'm annoyed that I took these trades instead of taking this trade. Like, of all trades to take, there wasn't really that much in the morning because I wanted to be shorting. And there wasn't that much in the afternoon because, I mean, look at this. This was how it ended for me. And the afternoon session was fine. I mean, I should have taken shorts on a retrace, but I wanted to retrace all the way up here. This was the only, like, proper retrace we had up to this hourly bearish order block, which I could have entered on perfectly, like almost to the tick, and then carried this down to right now where we'd be at, you know, daily lows. So almost high of day to low of day would have been a great trade. But no, no, I had to be special and stupid. But that was a thing. So I will definitely be reflecting on this poor decision. But yeah, no, that's why I'm here. Learn and grow. We will be back at it on Monday, and I'll come up with something for this weekend that I'll post. I'm going to be traveling, so I'll see what seems most intriguing. But yeah, that is it for me today. I hope you all had a more successful day than I did, and I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good one, guys. Or I guess, yeah, probably tomorrow. See you guys.